B.I.G.?
Yes. Yes.
I'm going to talk about his murder.
Okay. I actually don't know much about this.
I didn't either. I thought I did, but I didn't.
It's one of those things.
Yeah.
You can't just combine those because of that.
Okay, so I'm going to talk about the murder of Biggie Smalls.
Yes.
A.k.a. Notorious B.I.G. So my sources, The Hub, an article by Dwyer Murphy, a book called The Labyrinth, but it's like L-A-Brinth. I didn't read the whole thing. I just read some excerpts, but I want to read the whole thing. It's good.
I love books.
By Randall Sullivan. CrimeReads.com. I read an article by Randall Sullivan, who wrote the book. Biography.com, an article by Tim Ott, and then an article by Carrie Whitmer on Business Insider.
Ooh. All kinds of things.
Okay, so I want to talk about his early life. I went, like, fucking deep in his history because...
I'm excited. I honestly don't know, like, I feel like I read about it when I was younger, and then I don't know anything about it now.
All right, let's go. So Christopher George Latour Wallace was born May 21st, 1972 in Brooklyn.
Brooklyn?
Brooklyn?
You from Brooklyn?
Brooklyn. His mom, Valletta, and his dad, Selwyn, were both from Jamaica.
Great names.
I know.
Valletta and Selman?
Selwyn.
Either way, Selwyn?
Selman? Selwynilla?
Salmonella?
His dad left when he was 2, and his mom worked 2 jobs to send him to a private school because she wanted him to get a good education for high school. So he started at the Roman Catholic Bishop Laughlin Memorial High School. But he soon transferred to the George Westinghouse Career and Technical High School, which is where DMX, Jay-Z, and Busta Rhymes all went.
What? That's so random.
I know. But Christopher, a.k.a. Biggie, dropped out at 17. He didn't finish. So he had always been called the nickname Big since childhood because of his size. He was... Big. Oh, yeah. He was over 6 foot, but 400 pounds.
Whoa.
He was a big guy. He began selling drugs, and I'm just going to go into his background a little bit because it doesn't matter about his murder, but
curious.
I just want to tell his whole story.
Yeah.
So he began selling drugs at age 12, and after he dropped out of high school, he sold drugs more, obviously, because he needed money. He got into some trouble.
You guys, it's quite obvious.
He got into some trouble with the police for weapon possession charges, and in 1989, he got 5 years of probation, which I was actually shocked at only because... It was the late 80s, and yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, that is kind of surprising.
The next year, he was arrested for violating that probation, and then the year after that, he was arrested for dealing cocaine, and he spent 9 months in jail. Which, like, honestly, it's pretty phenomenal that he only spent 9 months in jail.
Oh, yeah.
Especially
feel like with the history and...
Yeah. Like I said, none of this matters about him being murdered, but I wanted to talk about his whole life and, like, what he went through.
Yeah.
He began rapping at an early age, but really just to entertain his neighborhood friends. He never thought about having a career. That's cute. Have you heard his music? I don't know if it's cute.
Well, the idea is cute.
But after he got out of jail, he actually worked on and released a demo tape under the name Biggie Smalls, which was both a nod to his childhood nickname and a gang leader from the 1975 movie Let's Do It Again.
Oh.
Which I've never heard of, but now I have the inkling to watch it.
Yeah.
If you guys have seen it and it's good, let me know. Like I said, he had no serious plans for a music career, but he loved hip-hop and he loved to rap. But his demo tape somehow ended up at the Source magazine, who got a hold of it, listened to it, and then they wrote a profile about him because they were super impressed. And this was March of 1992. And I didn't know this is how he got famous. Like, this magazine got a hold of his demo, wrote this piece on him, and they were like, fucking this guy's awesome.
Oh, can someone send this podcast to Source? We need your help.
Source magazine! After that, Biggie was invited to record with other unsigned rappers, and he caught the attention of Sean Puffy Combs, a.k.a. P. Diddy, a.k.a. Puff Daddy, whichever you like better. He answers to all of them.
Really?
Yes.
I'm going with the Puffy one.
I refer to him as Diddy in the rest of this, because I talk about him a lot. At the time, Diddy, or Puffy, was a producer of Uptown Records. This sentence made me laugh as I wrote it. I'm going to say it took me 4 glasses of wine to write this story. And I wrote, Diddy gave Biggie a record deal.
Oh, geez, that's hard to say.
Yeah. But Puff, whatever the fuck, I don't know what to call him. Sean
Puff
Combs.
the Magic Diddy.
Yes. He ended up leaving the label shortly after getting in a fight with his boss. By 1992, Diddy had his own label, so Biggie left and joined him at Bad Boy Records. Which sounds like that sounds like a lazy record name.
Yeah, you didn't really think hard on that one.
But before Biggie had a chance to record anything at Bad Boy, Uptown released a song that Biggie had been featured on. Not like a full song, like a solo, But because of that, there was like legal issues, so he was forced to change his name. He couldn't release music under Biggie Smalls.
They owned his name.
Yeah, so that's why he changed to the Notorious B.I.G.
Oh.
Which I never knew either.
That's sad.
Yeah, but he is and was still known to most people as Big. Like, I always say Biggie Smalls, and people go Notorious. But he obviously wanted to be Biggie Smalls.
Yeah, it was first choice.
Yeah. In June 1993, Bad Boy Records released his first solo song, Party and Bullshit and Party and... Do you know that song?
Office Party. And
Which is exactly why when I saw that Sarah had an Office Party one, I was like, and Party and Bullshit and Party and... Which I fucking love that song. I wrote, which is a fucking great song. I wrote that too.
It's in print, guys.
Yeah, this was glass of wine number 2.
Man, for mine, I drink ginger ale.
This same year he met and worked with Tupac. So you can't talk about Biggie without talking about Tupac, of course. Biggie also became a father to daughter Tiana around this time with his high school sweetheart Jan.
Aww.
So early 90s. In 1994, Juicy came out, which is a fucking amazing song. This album is dedicated to all the teachers who told me I never amount to nothing.
Yeah,
and all the neighbors that lived above me.
At your Washington, D.C. school, whatever you were.
New York, but yeah.
Fine.
Okay, what's really creepy and what I never knew, so I'll get into it more, but this album came out and the album was titled Ready to Die.
No.
Yep.
Ew, I got chills.
I know.
Ooh.
Wait till you hear what the next album is called.
No.
Which I didn't know this. I've always liked his music.
Yeah.
But I never knew that much. I was born in 91. I was a baby when this happened.
You were in the Philippines trying to escape.
For 2 days. So right after Ready to Die came out, it was certified gold within 2 months and double platinum within a year. And he got nominated for a Grammy for Best Rap Solo Performance on his first album.
Can I tell you something funny that's related but not?
Yes.
So I get my hair done at Ulta at the salon, and one time I got it blonde, and I went a little shader of blonde where it was like almost platinum blonde at the end, and they have this rewards program, and the highest level is platinum or diamond or something. But anyways, so when she gave me my receipt, she went, "Congratulations, you're platinum," and I went, "Oh, thanks," and like thinking she meant my hair, and then I was like, "Oh man, damn
it, loser!
I'm such a loser."
Yeah. Biggie soon married R&B singer Faith Evans, which I did know, but I did not know they married weeks after they met.
Oh.
They met at a photo shoot, and then she became like a background singer and worked with him a lot.
Wow.
They had a son together in 1996. Okay, so I want to go back to his friendship with Tupac because it's very important in all of this. So for a while, Biggie and Tupac were like tight, but Biggie was from East Coast, Brooklyn. Tupac was from West Coast, California. Ain't nobody like a West Coast body, because a West Coast body don't stop. I'm sorry. You know what's funny is I texted Christy and told her I was doing Biggie, and she was like, "You're going to fucking sing something when you do this." So I was like...
You're like, "I'm going to sing something no matter which case I do."
Yeah. Okay. Friends. So on November 30th, 1994, Tupac was shot 5 times during a recording studio robbery in New York. He obviously survived, because we know that. But he believed, and I don't know why, I just know that Tupac believed that Biggie and Diddy were behind the robbery and attack. Like, he thought they put a hit out on him or orchestrated the whole thing. Especially because 2 months after this attack, after he was shot, Biggie released the song Who Shot Ya? Which, I mean, if you've listened to it, it's like...
I haven't listened to that.
You should. When you listen to the lyrics, it does... So Tupac thought that this was released to taunt him. And I don't know what I think about this, but, like, if you fucking listen to the words, it totally... Yeah, listen to it. If you haven't, listen to it. And I've heard it before, but I didn't know this. So while I was doing this, I, like, stopped and I listened to it, and I was like, I would think the same fucking thing, like, when you listen to the words.
She put her hands on her hips. She's like, "Excuse me, sir."
If someone shot me, I would think the same thing.
This is definitely about me.
People out there are like, these are the fucking whitest girls ever.
Oh, yeah, probably.
So after that, Tupac then released Hit 'Em Up as a diss track against Biggie. In the song, he claimed to have slept with his wife, which she said, "That's not how I do business."
That's not how I do business either, so I'm with you there.
I don't sleep with Tupac. What?
Why do you say that?
2 years later, on September 7th, 1990... Okay, so before I get into this, I do want to say... So around this time, and this is super important, and I didn't know how bad it was. Obviously, I was a child. But during this time in the 90s, like, it was like a rap civil war. Like, East Coast versus West Coast was...
was it
fucking like North versus the South.
Yeah.
There was like a war. So 2 years later, on September 7th, 1996, Biggie's former friend and one of the greats, Tupac, was shot and killed in Las Vegas. No one has ever been charged, as we sadly know. So this fueled even more the East versus West Coast rivalry, like even more than it already was. Most people thought, and still do think, that Diddy and Biggie put the hit out on Tupac. Now other suspects have been named. But, I mean, even, like, Eminem has a song that came out recently where he's like, I'll admit this when Diddy admits he put the hit out on Tupac. Like, I don't know. I'm curious what you believe once I get through all the evidence. But that's, I'm not getting deep into Tupac's death, but Tupac was shot in a car. So after Tupac's death, Biggie said in an interview, which this is kind of fascinating. I'm going to quote him. It's kind of long. It's a funny thing. I kind of realized how powerful Tupac and I was. We two individual people, we waged a coastal beef. You know what I'm saying? One man against one man made a whole West Coast hate a whole East Coast and vice versa. And that really bugged me out. Like, dude don't like me, so his whole coast don't like me. And I don't like him, so my whole coast don't like him. It let me know how much strength I have. So what I'm trying to do now, I've got to be the one to try to flip it. So after Tupac's death, Biggie was like, he wanted peace. Sadly, he wouldn't live long enough to see the peace. On March 9th, 1997, so not less than a year after Tupac, Christopher Biggie Wallace left a Vibe magazine party at the Peterson Auto Museum in LA. He was in LA promoting an album and to film a music video. And I didn't write this, but in one of the articles, I thought this was interesting. So Tupac was shot in Las Vegas. And so when Biggie, like, from the East Coast was in the West Coast so soon after Tupac got shot, I read one article a couple weeks before Biggie was shot. He ran into Shaq outside a tattoo parlor, and they were really close. And Shaq, I read this interview with Shaq, and he was like, he remembers being like, why are you on the West Coast? Like, go back to the East Coast. Like, because that's how bad the war, like, quote unquote war between East and West. Get out of here. Shaq was like, fuck, man, Tupac was just killed. Like, go. Do not be on the West Coast. This is not the place for you.
That's crazy.
And he was like, no, man, I'm trying to make peace. Like, he told Shaq, he was like, you know, I'm promoting my album. Yeah. He was like, I'm going to make peace. I'm going to make all this better. Like, he really believed he was going to make things better. I just thought it was interesting. And Shaq, like, was really torn up after his death. So Biggie was riding in an SUV with a bodyguard and with rapper Lil Cease. Then they stopped at a red light. A vehicle pulled up beside them and opened fire on the SUV, shooting Biggie multiple times. The bodyguard rushed him to the hospital, but it was too late. He was pronounced dead upon arrival, 24 years old. And Tupac was 25. They were fucking babies. I didn't realize he was
24. I don't know why.
Yeah. He was 24 and Tupac was 25. They were babies.
That's so sad. Well, probably because when I was so little, I always felt like they were like big grown-ups.
Yeah.
Like, but no.
They were younger than we are now.
They were very young.
Like the murder of Tupac, Biggie's murder has never officially been solved. And also like Tupac, which I didn't know, Biggie would have an album released post-death. March 25th, 1997, Bad Boy Records released an album called Life After Death, which is already what he had decided his album was going to be called, but it came out after he died.
Ew.
So
and then
he
the
had
other one was
Ready to Die, and then he died, and then after he died, an album came out called Life After Death, which is the fucking creepiest thing ever. And it's not like they called it that. It was already going to be called that. Right? Fucking chills.
Ew. My entire
right?
arms, yeah.
Like, creepy. No matter who killed him, and I'm going to get into a lot of theories, Biggie's death seemed to mark the end of the East-West Coast rivalry.
They both lost their leader, essentially.
Yeah, so two of the greatest rappers in history were dead. Like, there is no denying that fucking Biggie and Tupac were some of the greatest rappers ever to live. And people begin to realize it had gone way too far, and no one wanted more death.
Stop killing people.
Yeah, it wasn't like, not that this would change, you know, it was big names, you're right, they're leaders. Yeah. It was fucking huge names, and yeah, they were both dead within less than a year of each other. On March 18th, 1997, Biggie's memorial service was held in Manhattan, and 350 guests, including Lil' Kim, Mary J. Blige, Queen Latifah, Run DMC, Busta Rhymes, and others. Biggie was in an open casket wearing a white suit.
Aww.
So now I want to talk about the biggest conspiracy and theory around Biggie's murder.
All right.
And I'll kind of get into Tupac's, but...
Okay.
So first, it was immediately linked to Tupac's death with the rivalry.
Kind of like revenge or something.
Yeah.
You killed Tupac, we're going to kill you.
Yeah,
Or we think
exactly.
you killed Tupac, yeah.
So Suge Knight, CEO